In today's video, we are going to be talking about the reality of police-related training. There's about 10% of subscribers on here that are interested in law enforcement. And I do cater this channel to them as well. And then there's a lot of security, security trainers that watch this channel as well. And I want to talk about the current state of security-related training as well. Both topics will basically, will involve law enforcement. Will revolve around firearms training. If anybody's interested in taking a TECC, Tactical Emergency Casualty Care course, this is the LEO, the law enforcement version. Make sure you guys get a hold of me. There's still a couple of seats open. There's some people that couldn't make it, so it is open. I think the course fee is $200. And if you're interested in taking the TECC LEO course, it will be in Imperial County. I made reservations with the Law Enforcement Coordination Center out here, and it will begin at 9 o'clock a.m. and end at 5 o'clock p.m. We might make some modifications. We might do it at 8 in the morning and just begin the course in the parking lot. I cleared it up with the coordinator. He said yes, and then 9 o'clock the doors will open. So I need to clear this up with Randy from Global Veterans. He will be the person or the entity that will be they'll be teaching this course. Very important course. It is open to credential private security. If you want to join the course, just lay down your credentials, just so that we can verify you, and you're able to attend the course. We do have somebody from private security, and that person attended our active shooter training with Randy from Global Veterans a couple of months ago, and he's interested in following up. So it just tells you that we have good instructors. We have somebody that attended the Global Veterans active shooter course. He liked it so much, he's going to attend the Global Veterans TECC course. So looking forward to meeting some of you guys. Once again, the course date. The course date is May the 13th of this year. Once again, it's going to be in Imperial, California. The course date is May the 13th of this year in the city of Imperial. City of Imperial is about an hour and 50 minutes from downtown Los Angeles with no traffic. Maybe an hour and 45 minutes. If you're in El Cajones or El Cajon area, California, the driving time is like an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, 40 minutes. Anyhow, so make sure you guys get a hold of me through ssundahl@yahoo.com. It's SSUNDAHL@yahoo.com. If I don't respond to you within 24 hours, it means that you spell my name wrong. So it's SSUNDAHL@yahoo.com. Onward. So last night I was teaching the third day of low light. It's a low light combat shooting course. It's a 6-hour course. It was post certified. And another instructor and a training entity reached out to me, and we have a lot in common. So we're trying to get, we're trying to become post-certified vendors, right? Like third-party vendors, so that we can offer this CQB type of training, the highest level of training to law enforcement and even security. And this person was trying to do the same thing, this entity, and I found out that they denied, the California Post Peace Officer Standards and Commission denied his course because they reached out to the training managers of different agencies in region number 7, which covers all the way north in California to Inyo County. It almost sounds like in your face, right? Anyhow, all the way south to Riverside. And the post consultant said, no, there's no training need for it. for it after conducting their own training assessment. And this person from Post reached out to training directors from all different agencies, and these agencies said that we don't need a course like that. It was going to be like a 1 or 2 day low light course. They were saying that they don't need a course like this because they already train in service at different law enforcement agencies. They do it once a year. So for that reason, this person's application was denied. This is a bunch of BS. And then they said that there's other training entities that offer the same course. This is the problem in law enforcement right now. These training managers, in which California Post consulted with, a lot of them, if you're already a training manager, you've probably been on the job for like 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 30 years, and you're what's called ROD, retired on duty. A lot of these training managers probably haven't taken like a firearms instructor level course. If so, it's probably in the 80s and 90s, maybe in the 70s, right? And they don't feel like a course like this would be beneficial. Now, they might ask their local sheriff or chief of police and say, hey, Chief Sheriff, what do you think about this low light course? This outside training vendor wants to be able to offer this course in our region. No, we don't need that course. Well, you're talking about a chief of police who has been on the job probably for like 30 years, hasn't been in a patrol car for like 28 years, 25 years, probably hasn't even trained anybody that was just out of the academy. And if it's the last time, it was probably 20 years ago. Believe it or not, your FTOs are your future chiefs of police. Just throwing it out there. A lot of times your SWAT team members are going to end up being commanders, lieutenants, and chiefs as well. But again, they haven't engaged themselves in that type of training like decades ago. So that's one of the reasons why this low light course was denied. And it's really unfortunate because the level of training that's out there, it's haphazard, guys. At the academies, they could be doing a better job at low light training. It's terrible, right? I'm gonna, like, right now I'm pushing for more CQB courses, more courses on stopping the threat, especially in low light environments. Now, proponents would say, well, you guys should be concentrating on de-escalation techniques, teaching people or officers to de-escalate situations rather than promote tactical level of training. And I would argue, yes, that's what we need. But the other argument is that law enforcement in California does a really good job at attending courses. I'll say this, attending de-escalation courses, it's mandatory, okay? So it's like 24 hours of training because of Senate Bill, I think it was 320 in California, that required de-escalation courses. That was, and like some cultural diversity courses as well, disability awareness courses. It amounted to about 24 hours. It was like the best training that I've received in a long time. 24 hours. So I feel proficient. I've been always able to de-escalate situations most of the time. On my own dime, when I was working private security, I took verbal judo courses and it worked. That's what we call de-escalation courses in the 90s, was verbal judo. And it worked. Should law enforcement take more de-escalation courses? Yes. But I'll tell you right now that there's been some cutoffs in the academies for low light and firearms related training. Okay. And again, I think it's just for political reasons. And look, guys, it makes sense to have more low light training because most officer involved shootings happen when? During low light hours. Usually between 5 p.m. and like 2 in the morning. And that's the same for private security. It would only make sense. And I would also argue for low light courses because it helps you target identify. It helps you reduce the chances of making a fatal mistake because because of a mistake of fact. Okay, and what a mistake of fact is you thought that something was a gun when it isn't. So the last 3 nights I did a man up range drill where at 73, 74 yards I presented an airsoft pistol at my officers that were downrange, and I allowed them to turn on their flashlight. I was pointing the airsoft at them, and at 73 yards, they could not identify what I was holding in my hand. I put my airsoft down, and I moved to 50 yards. Again, using the FBI flashlight technique, which is overhead out, just like this. They still could not identify what I had in my hand. I moved in to 25 yards. And one of the officers said that they would have taken a shot at me. Again, this is complete, like, near darkness because we're in the desert. And I was holding a flashlight just like this. This same flashlight, I went like this. And one of the officers said, I would have shot you. I moved in at like 15 yards, and another officer said, yeah, I would have shot you. I moved in about 7 yards. I'm sorry, I was at 15 and then maybe like 13. And then everybody said, hey, you're holding a flashlight in your hand. So already a police officer would have made a mistake of fact. Deadly action. And then that's actually 2 of them, guys. 2 of them would have done that. Wouldn't you have preferred your local police officers, make a mistake during training rather than in real life? And that's the question that I have to everybody. And I would hope that you would say yes. And that's why we need more low light training in law enforcement. That's exactly why we need more low light training in law enforcement, for that reason. And I would also argue that low light training is part of de-escalation, right? Because you cannot effectively de-escalate a situation unless you know the facts. Okay, that person that's downrange in a real life environment might be yelling at you, I don't have a freaking gun. It's not a gun. I'm just holding a cell phone and recording you guys. And I also did that with the cell phone, guys. I turned it on. I was recording everybody. They couldn't even tell, like, what was I holding in my hand. So once again, I'd argue that a low light course does involve significant training points for de-escalation. Getting the heart rate up, right? So we did some courses where I had the guys turn on their sirens and then their lights to get their blood pressure up, get the heart rate up as much as possible, and then they stopped. They stopped at the hallway that we created. Most of the officers approach the breach point like almost running, and then they did what's called a dynamic entry inside of the threshold. We didn't teach them to do that. We told them to slow the freak down. You're going to be conducting a threshold evaluation, and after that threshold evaluation, you're going to conduct limited penetration, which is your fancy word for slicing the pie. But you don't do that fast. You don't do it hasty, unless there's a driving force that's inside of this room or hallway, and that's what we told them. So our first group, again, they rushed, they ran in there, and it's like, hey guys, this whole 2 hours we've been training slow and methodical, and then now you're running. Again, we want our officers out there to come back safely and to not make those mistakes, because if you have an officer with a loaded firearm running inside of a house, running inside of a hallway, they're more bound to make fatal errors. Okay, again, that goes back to de-escalation components. Okay, you can't de-escalate a situation unless you know the facts. So that's all I got. Let me just go through the comments. Let's see who's here today. Doug is here. Randy. Yeah, thanks, Randy. The TECC course, the law enforcement version, will be May 13th, Monday, in Imperial County. Randy says 1:30-ish hours from San Diego. So he says an hour and a half. I disagree because Randy's probably driving fast. Yeah, your speed. The security body cam channel says, hey, welcome. Dragon says, hey, how's it going, brother? I'm watching you from work. Hey, thanks. Hey, guys, another thing, if you're watching from work, make sure you pay attention to your surroundings. I know that some of us work like construction sites and we can look on our phone a little bit longer, but yeah, just be careful when you're out there. And guys, if you want us to come down and do any type of like low light training for private security, just send me an email, okay? If you have a security company and as a group you want your guys to be trained appropriately in low level environments, give me a holler through my ssundahl@yahoo.com email address, and we can definitely talk. Guys, we rather have your officers making mistakes in training rather than in real life situations. Okay. Now, if you guys are asking like, hey, do you have any classes set? Let me know. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. But like right now, we don't have any CQB classes set up. But when we do, we'll let you know. I might have a California Post Red Dot instructor course coming up, and I might have another seat available, but I'm not too sure yet. In order to get into a class like you have to have at least completed maybe some intermediate pistol training from a reputable source. Guys, your BSIS firearms course, that's usually not a reputable source, unless Randy from Global Veterans is teaching that course. Like right now, and then our friend Mario Castillo, he's also operating in the San Diego area, and then I have some other acquaintances that are somewhere in the area. Otherwise, oh, I know my friends at Primary Training Division, Primary Security Agency. I always screw their name up. Those guys are reputable. If I had to send anybody to training in the Los Angeles area, I would send them to Primary Security Training Division. Good group of guys. These guys are constantly training, and they're training with like the best of the best, constantly over and over and over again. Yeah, Randy, we'll get the Red Dot course fired up pretty soon. All right, guys, I'm out. If you have any questions, concerns, if you want to add, let me know. Guys, if you're wondering about my artificial intelligence thumbnail, I asked Instagram, make me a thumbnail of police at the firing range or something like that. And that's what they came up with. They came up with some crazy looking holster. The holster's like on the side, like not even reachable, some crazy looking gun. And then some helmets, and then they're not even looking down range. And then they're like at some weird, like isosceles triangle stance. Unfortunately, that is the public perception of law. And then we're in that's the public perception of law enforcement training right now. I mean, that comes from artificial intelligence. Hey, Mr. Fusion's here. All right, guys. Hey, make sure you connect with me on the Firearms Trainer. I post different content on there that I usually don't post on Instagram. Once again, the Firearms Trainer. A lot more easier to get a hold on that platform as well. Okay. All right, guys. Take care. I'm out.